Hi everyone, welcome to Excel Highway, your one-stop shop for all your Excel and Google Sheets needs. Today I want to share with you this very simple but effective stock tracker file that I created. As you can see in the selection, you have a chart with 3 different stock tickers and the trend within a period that you select. So there are 6 inputs here that you need to assign. The from to period, whether the interval is weekly or daily, and which stock you want to see. So it's very simple. For example, I'm going to switch this one to Google, for example, and it needs to update. It takes a few seconds, and you get a chart with Google. And I'm just going to switch it back just so the values are quite similar, so the chart is easier to view. So we have 3 different stocks and we have them on the trend here. Now I can also change the date. Let's say I want another year of data going from 2020 to 22. Okay. And now I have the data for 2 years. I can also change the interval going from a daily input to a weekly. Okay, and we have less data points, so I can also do that. So that's the selection screen or the dashboard or whatever you want to call it. And now let's see how this really happens in the background. So basically, what I'm using um, the Google Sheets formula called Google Finance, which just pulls information. It's a query. You see that I'm looking for the name. All right, that's what you're looking for. What's the value? Price in this case. Then there's the from to. Okay, and last there's the interval. If I click here, so sorry, this is how you see it better. So you have the ticker or the name of the stock. What is the attribute? Start date, end date, and the interval. And you see I'm pulling the data from the selection sheet for the 3 parameters. In K1, you'll see that's the name of the stock price, which also takes from the selection. So I have 3 different queries, okay? They're all the same, but they give me the information. And then I have this table, which I'm using that table to build a pivot chart, and then a pivot table, and then a pivot chart. Because the problem with the Google Finance formula or query doesn't allow you to select more than 1 stock. In this case, I wanted to compare 3. So basically, I have here the formulas. The first one is the default. Um, so basically, I'm looking for the number of rows. Okay. Now this changes if I select weekly. You see, this is weekly, so it goes from 3 to 10. But if I switch it to daily, let me go ahead and switch it to daily. Let it just refresh. All the refreshing time is because of the Google Sheets queries that need to update, and then the pivot table. Okay, so I have 505 rows because I have 2 years of data and it's being pulled almost every day. So now you see the intervals are daily. And basically what I'm saying, I'm using offset, okay, from this area. And if you're not familiar with offset, offset is a very nice function that basically can allow you to pull a cell relatively to a reference cell or even a table if you use the height and width. Anyway, I use this to capture the date and the price, basically to copy these columns, but in a way that it's structured one by one. And I'm using it by simply checking if I'm on the last row. So if I've passed 505 rows, I'm going to switch to the next stock, giving the +1, and I'm going to zero out the offset to number 1 as the row number. So if I go to 505, okay, you see I'm switching now. I'm 505. This is the last row. Now I'm going to pull the next stock name and again start from row number 1. Okay. So it's a nice trick using the offset. Basically, since I'm going from here, so it's either 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why I'm using twice that number, minus 1 for the date and without minus 1 for the price. So once I've set up that, so I have a nice structure of a table. Now I created a pivot table, a very simple pivot table. Okay, you can see it's on C through F. And I just have the date as the row. I have the stocks as the column. I have the price as the value, and I have a filter. Okay, if it's active or not, just because I don't want, since it's changeable, I don't want to see these rows. I don't know. I just built it, I wanted it to be quick, so I didn't create too many rows, but you could build this for 3 or 4 years or 5 years or whatever you want. I just didn't want to have, NA lines, so I added this filter, and I'm using it here. So basically, it's showing you the data. And on this pivot table, I just created a chart, very simple chart that actually pulls the data. Simple chart. Nothing, I think, very special about it. Yeah, so it just takes the entire area of the pivot and just doesn't show anything if it's not available. So that's a very nice trick. Unfortunately, Google Sheets doesn't have a pivot chart, which would really be the best. So I just, I just selected, as you saw, 900 lines, which is more than what we have here. And it's just going to show blanks for the entire rows. So if you make, if you add here like 5 years of data, you would need to add more lines here, since this will eventually run out. And of course, you can also add more stock. You can just copy this formula over here, okay, and you can add here another one. Let's say just so you see it, and now it has another one, and you can see the chart. It started with Google's data, but it ended because the database doesn't have enough rows. You see it stopped somewhere in June, just because I didn't put enough rows. I didn't want the file to take so long. If I change this, for example, to weekly, okay, then it may show me the entire period for all of them. Yeah, since there's a lot less information. And of course, if I take a year less, so this is how you can actually play with it and even extend it. That's it. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like, comment, and see you next time. Thank you.